One of the fundamental skills in coaching has got to be listening. We all think we're reasonably good listeners, but to be honest, all of us really fall down in this area a lot of the time. I know I do. I know there are times when I'm distracted, when I'm tired, when my attention's somewhere else. I'm not really ready to listen. So one of the key things for coaches is about getting into the mindset, making sure that when you're going into a coaching conversation with somebody, that you have got rid of all distractions, that you are focused on what you're going to be doing, and your ears, eyes, and all your senses are wide open. I'd like you to think about what goes wrong when we don't really listen. Let's face it, there are times when at work, we're too busy. Our brain is full of all of the emails we're trying to deal with all of the complexity, the problems, what we're trying to do, the customer complaint we've just dealt with. And somebody pops their head around the corner and says, have you got a couple of minutes? Very often we say, yeah, sure, come in. And they go straight into talking about their issue, their problem, what they need to get off the chest, the help they want from you. And to be honest, if we're being honest, our brain is still full of all of that complexity, all of that mess, all of that noise that's around us, and we're not really paying attention. I'd like you to try an experiment. This is one of my favorite activities when I'm working with a group on this point. You can try this. Find a buddy. Find somebody that's willing to have a go at this with you. I learned this from a great guy, Rintu Basu, who's in Glasgow. One of you decide to be the person who is going to tell a story or talk about something. The other is going to be the listener. Once you've decided that, whoever's going to be talking, think of a topic, it doesn't matter what it is, that you can talk about endlessly. This could be your life story, this could be your last holiday, your next holiday, this could be something that you have a geeky interest in, that nobody else ever really listens to you about. It doesn't really matter. Just something that you can talk about for a few minutes without needing any help, any questions, any clues. While you're thinking of that, the listener, your job is for 1 minute, set a timer for this, for 1 minute you are going to be the world's greatest listener. I want you to go into this, listening to this, assuming that you are going to learn something of huge importance, that whatever the other person's talking about, that you are going to be so engaged, so curious, and you're going to show that. You're not going to interrupt, but you're going to be saying, really? Wow. Is that so? Tell me more. What else? To really encourage them, because you're so desperate to learn what they have to say for 1 minute. Then it gets painful. After 1 minute, set the timer. When the binger goes, you're going to change to be the world's worst listener. You are going to be distracted. You're going to be checking your phone. You're going to be thinking about the last email that came in. You can start doodling on a pad. You can look out the window. Whatever it is, I want you to break eye contact. I want you to break contact with the person who's talking, as if you have no interest whatsoever. I warn you now, you're going to find this difficult, and so will they. Talker, keep talking no matter what, if you possibly can. After another minute, ding, go back to being the world's greatest listener, because I need you to end up as friends. So spend a minute really listening to them again and enjoy it. When you've completed the exercise, have a little reflection. That second minute when you weren't really listening, it had a huge impact on the person that was talking. They would suddenly have become de-skilled. They would have found it very difficult to express themselves at all, or clearly. They would hesitate. They would break. Their flow would be broken. Now that's actually what we do to people when we're really not listening to them. So keep focused, whatever you do, because it's not just about you. This is about the other person. Once you've tried that, just do it once. You will have the greatest motivation to never do that to another human being again in your life. Okay. what happens when it goes right? What are we doing when we're really listening to somebody? Now, this is not just about listening with our ears to words. What we're trying to do here is to genuinely understand where that person is coming from. We want to empathize to the point where we really get it. We don't come with any prejudgments. We don't assume we know what they're talking about before they've expressed it. So we need to check our understanding constantly with them, saying, are you saying this? You seem to be feeling that. Am I right? Or if not, tell me more. Tell me more about this situation. So we're trying to get them to express not just words, but feelings, the direction that they're going in, whether they're getting away from something or moving towards something. We're looking, when we're really listening, for the gaps. What is it that they aren't expressing? What have they not yet told us, so that we can investigate, we can encourage them to share those things. In the next section, I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of frameworks that might help with that, or how to use frameworks to help this. This is also about being open to feedback. In a coaching relationship, particularly when it's an internal coach at work, feedback is going to be really important. And a lot of us feel that we don't get enough feedback, that we feel that we have a good professional attitude to feedback, that we thrive on constructive criticism, and if only we got more praise and encouragement, life would be great. The reality is that we don't get as much of that as we think, because we are closed, our ears are closed to both criticism and praise, and that, just like the middle minute, makes it very difficult for people to share with us, because we're not really listening. Let me give you an example. Somebody gives you that praise that you crave, that they tell you how great the piece of work that you did was, what your attitude was, that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. The reality is that what happens is we get embarrassed about that, and our reaction is we crack a joke about it. We say, oh, it wasn't me, it was a team effort. We deflect it. We wonder, what is it that this person really wants from me? They're giving me a pat on the back, and there must be something behind this. So we suspect their motives. And all of these, we are shutting our ears, we are closing down, we are not really listening to try to understand what the person is saying to us. And so it's very difficult for them. They feel awkward, they feel embarrassed, and that makes it hard for them to give us praise. With criticism, it happens even more so, that we go into our shells, we get angry, we get defensive, we get offensive, we leave the room. All of these are closed reactions that make it very difficult. We are not really listening. So the same skills apply to coaching, that we've got to really focus on everything that's coming from our client. Now, when it goes right, this can be great. For example, the principal of a school that I know, a fairly new principal, in her first year, she made a point of having a one-to-one with every single member of staff, not just teaching, but support staff, everybody in the team. And the purpose was not to coach, but simply to listen, and to give everybody in the whole organization the chance to say whatever they wanted to say, and to really genuinely listen to them, and to learn their perspective. And just that listening had an awesome impact in the whole environment. But take it to the other extreme. One of the greatest bits of feedback that I ever had was from a client who said, Hugh, can we stop a minute? I need to tell you that I find you intimidating. And I've got to say, I was quite astonished, because that's not really how I see myself. That's not my self-image. I find it hard to think of myself as intimidating. But instead of reacting, instead of coming back with a closed reaction or a negative one, or taking it badly, I got intensely curious, and I wanted to find out what was going on here, because it was so far removed from what I expected. And so we explored, and it turned out that this client, what he was really saying was that nobody in his entire life had ever listened to him as intently as I was listening, and he found that intimidating. The situation was intimidating. Being listened to was intimidating. It wasn't me personally that was intimidating. So if I'd had a closed reaction, I would never have found that out. But it was on the topic of listening, and listening being intimidating. But it opened up a whole new area that I learned an awful lot from by actively listening without judgment to what the person was saying to me. There are a lot of skills in active listening, but constantly check your understanding. Keep looking for, be curious, keep looking for new ways. Try to extend your understanding of what the person is saying to you all of the time. It's actually as simple as that, and yet it's not simple. So, listen. Over to you.